ahead and get started. So thank you very much for coming to our monthly soulful session. And this part is the parent training that we do. So my name is Dr. Manny Rodriguez. For our purposes, just call me Manny. As I was preparing for today, I was expecting to make sure that I touch on parenting, but also applied behavior analysis. I got to put them all together. And when asked, what the topic that I wanted to talk about, I felt it was very important for me to talk about something that I am dealing with and managing as a parent. So that it's not just conceptual, it's practical, it's something that is happening for real. Now, the word parenting is always kind of funny to me. I think there's a lot of synonymous words to parenting, like teacher, mentor, but also vulnerability is a word that I find to be synonymous with parenting. You got to be vulnerable sometimes, get help, ask for help, things like that. So the topic that we're going to talk about is managing transition without tears, achieving smoother mornings, evenings, and everything in between. So if you have a child, doesn't matter what age, and any transition you can think of is a little bit of a challenge. That's why I put this with that in mind. So what I want to share with you a little bit is some strategies to kind of help with transitions. Now, these are a couple of 4-year-olds, but you can extrapolate this to the 14-year-old that doesn't want to get up in the morning, or the 17-year-old that needs to do their laundry. There's things that people have to do or want to do, and we need to move them through transitions. So let me start out by saying, let's recognize a truth. The truth is transitions are very difficult. But why are they so difficult? So we're going to look at it from a behavior and a neurological standpoint. For kids, the brain is still forming, right? They are still learning. They are still adapting to change. They are still adapting to waking up in the morning every day, still adapting to going to school every day. There's so much that they're trying to process that the slightest demand placed during a transition could make or break their whole behavioral mojo. So me just saying it's time to go to school. No, I've been playing for 15 minutes with my magnets. Because for them, it's all about playtime, right? Think about that as adults, right? If we had a really good sleep and then that buzzard goes off, what do most people do? Hit the snooze, right? Because it's breaking up that neuro-brain activity with the behavior. So if we can at least know that truth going into it, transitions are difficult. Why? It requires a certain level of cognition, a certain level of self-regulation, a certain level of awareness of how do I manage through it. We can get really far with transition. The breakdown, usually for most people, I'll say parents, most parents, including myself, is when we put that wall and says, just do it because I said. We put that demand, we expect the demand to be followed. We've lost all sense of the word transitions are difficult. Okay? So hopefully the few strategies I'm going to share with you today are going to resonate with you, and I'm going to have you do a little bit of exercise with trying to identify which one of these strategies you actually put in place and how. All right. So let's talk about strategy number 1. They're called transition cues. So there's a variety of different transition cues. What's a transition cue? Very simply put, it's something that sets you up for the transition. So there's a lot of variety, but these are kind of the main ones. The first one is visual schedules. Now, I don't use visual schedules at home, but with Aiden, for example, we now soon to be 12-year-old, we have a visual schedule for what happens when he gets home from school. Because if you ask Aiden what he wants to do when he gets home from school, he wants to go play video games, right? But the first thing he has to do is get his homework done. So that's on his visual schedule. Second thing on his visual schedule is to do a chore, at least one a day. So it could be taking out the garbage or starting his laundry or doing the dishes, whatever, just one chore. The third thing on his visual schedule, because he is a growing boy, go take a shower. Okay, he didn't want to do that for a few years, and now we got him going in the shower. And it's not until the 4th visual schedule item where it says video game play. And he has to get through that thing. So I use it with Aiden, because for Aiden, he's very visual. Verbal countdowns is another one, and I actually do it with the twins in the morning. I say, hey guys, We have to get ready for school. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the couch and get our clothes. And they'll run to the couch. So sometimes a countdown becomes that cue. Oh, the transition is coming. It's now. Versus just saying, come on, let's go to school. There's no cue, right? That's not enough of a cue for most kids. The next one, physical cues. I don't do the physical cues very often because there's been a couple of times that I'll take my son by the arm, he's 4, and he resists, and then I find myself doing a grip, and I don't want to make a mark or anything. The last thing you want to do is take the kid to school, and all of a sudden I got a little bruise, and you got to answer those questions, and so I don't do that. But my wife does really good physical cues. It looks something like this. We're going to pretend this is my son. This is his arm. She just does this with the back of her palm. Come on, let's go. We're going to get dressed. Let's go. And sometimes that's all they need. It's just a little physical nudge. For Aiden, my 12-year-old, it looks more like this. Get your homework done. You got to do your homework. Because sometimes he dozes off. He spaces out. He's kind of in his world. The last one is a personalized soundtrack. So what does that mean? That means that sometimes music sets a tone, right? It's very fascinating to me as a behavior analyst what the power of music does. Because there's not a whole lot of research in ABA that talks about this. But man, it does set a tone and it's a cue. So I'm going to share with you what the twins have come to learn is their music for transition. You're going to laugh, I think. Maybe, maybe not. Paint a picture. We're going to go to a store. But they've been playing toys for 30 minutes and they're having a blast. Hey guys, we got to go out. No, I don't want to. I used to do the whole, come on, we got to go. Well, we watched Guardians of the Galaxy not too long ago, and they loved this movie, particularly this part. Anybody seen the movie? I won't play the whole thing. But when I play this on my phone, Junior starts going like this. And sure enough, both of them in sync. They do it in sync. Then I get them all the way to the car. And you get the idea. And I played in the car and we're on our way. It has shortened our transition time from what used to take about 10 minutes of us dragging them into the car to no more than 30 seconds just for music. That doesn't have to be that song, it can be whatever they like. All right.
I'm gonna have to try that in the morning.
Try it. It's interesting how powerful it is. And let them pick the song. I had them pick the song. All right, so visual schedules, verbal countdowns, physical cues, and the personalized soundtrack. What I'd like you to do is I want you to take, we're going to do a 4-minute timer. I'm going to put 4 minutes on the clock. You're going to work at your table. What I'd like you to do is think about your situation at home. It doesn't have to be your kid. It could be your spouse. It could be yourself. What is a situation of a transition that is typically difficult? And which one of these would you be willing to try tomorrow? All you got to do is try it out. Would it be a countdown, a schedule, a physical cue? If you pick schedule, if you pick visual schedule, I like you to draft it. What would be that schedule? All right? So I'm going to do a 4-minute timer. I want you to think, it doesn't have to be your kid. It could be yourself. It could be a spouse. It could be somebody you work with. I look right at you. But there you go. So I'm going to put a 4-minute timer, and then I'll ask for volunteers to kind of give me some examples. All right, ready, set, and begin. All right, time's up. All right, let me get a few volunteers. What cues would you try, and what's the situation? Give me a couple of volunteers. What cue would you try? What transition cue would you try, and what's the situation? Go ahead.
Okay, so it might be silly, but when I leave for long periods of time, I have a dog named Buffy. And I always say, hey Google, play popular country music. Buffy will then go by the kitchen sink, and then she gets her special treat. She'll sit, she gets her special treat, because she knows that I'm gonna be gone for a while. And then I always tell her to make good choices, and then I walk out the door.
That's awesome. You know what I mean? And that's a transition cue for the dog. You know?
Yeah, like she knows.
A lot of dogs, they have anxiety, right? When they're over asleep and stuff like that. So that's good. You smooth that transition. So That was a personalized soundtrack transition. That's cool. All right, other examples. Go ahead, Shakir.
We did a visual schedule.
Oh, look at her. Look, she did it.
These are
Cool.
little pictures for her schedule when she goes home with her kids. So first it started off with snacks, got a little Cheez-It box, playtime, some blocks. Go home, they got a little home, little picture, a dance break, some music notes, playtime, some more blocks, bath, a little bubble bath, dinner, try to do a bowl of noodles or something, and then movie in the bed, giving
Perfect.
some sleep.
That's perfect. Well done. Well done. All right. Anybody else?
Patty volunteered over here.
Well, the outside to inside play.
You like that one? Okay, I think this is probably personal soundtrack. It's something I did with my son when he was smaller, because when he was allowed to do something, be in the McDonald's play area or, coming home, I want to play outside. And you can't play for a few minutes because that's nebulous. So what I learned to do the summer he was 3 is I would play a ringtone off of my phone and give him an M&M, one M&M, and say, now listen to this, eat your M&M, this is your song. In 20 minutes, we're gonna come back in the house. If you'll walk up the steps by yourself, you get 3 M&Ms when you get in the house. Understand that when this timer goes off, you're coming in the house if I have to carry you. Within a few weeks, I didn't even have to do M&Ms. He was just so used to.
Nice.
And I can still use it now instead of being loud at a place. If we're at a birthday party-ish thing and I can say, Jason, dude, we gotta go in 10 minutes. I'll set an alarm. You'll hear it. I gotta go find my mom.
Lovely. Perfect. You had your example has a couple of combination of cues, right? So you had a verbal countdown or a visual countdown, right? The clock. Super powerful. The personalized soundtrack, right? You can combine these cues. You don't have to just rely on one. The biggest takeaway I hope everybody walks out of here with is if you try one and it doesn't work quite the way you expected, that's okay. You modify it, you customize it, maybe try a different one to see which one's going to work for that situation, whether it's a kid or yourself, right? One of the other things too is as the kids are growing up, if they're vocal, they're verbal, they got ideas, they got imagination, they're expressive, have them come up with the solution. Sometimes that's the best course of action is they come up with the cue. You give them the options, they tell you which one they think is going to work best. Now sometimes that may work, sometimes it doesn't, but at least they're giving it a shot. The more buy-in they have on the cue, the better off they might be. So speaking of cues, so you saw my vulnerability, right? I was showing you a little glimpse into my mornings. When it comes to evenings, I also find that's a big transition for most people. Not just kids, but us adults, right? So like transitioning after we get home after a long day and we're doing our nighttime routine and we're getting ready, how is our routine affecting our next day, right? So full disclosure, Manny has gotten to a point where if I'm in bed after 9:30, I'm in trouble because I'm exhausted the next morning, which sounds good. I'm not that old, but it definitely feels better if I'm in bed by 9:30 or earlier.
That sounds amazing.
And part of that is driven by the twins because they get to bed early and I tell the older ones, I'm like, look, I can hang for another hour and a half, and then I'm done.
Your old
So-
pop's done.
I'm done.
I'll get in for an early shift.
Now, one of the things that has been documented and well researched is when you are looking to set yourself up for a transition, especially the evening, it's setting the stage for the smooth transition the next day. So if you think about yourself, do you prepare for the next morning? Do you prep a meal for the next day? Do you set aside your clothes for the next day? Do you have a checklist of what you're doing the next day? A lot of us as adults, we do. We know what we're gonna do, right? We don't always do that for kids. And I showed you a video where mom and dad messed up and you saw the aftermath of that. And that was just one step of getting them ready for the next day. But if they know, for example, on Monday, they didn't have school, right? President's Day. So they had Nana for the day, Nana's grandma, okay? We set that up for 2 straight days. Hey, you're gonna have Nana on Monday. Let's look at the calendar. It's Saturday. What happened on Sunday morning? Are we having Nana today? Today is Sunday, you're having Nana tomorrow. What are we doing with Nana? What's Nana? Because Nana does all sorts of fun stuff for the twins, right? They went to 3 parks, they got ice cream, they had a blast. So, but letting them know in advance, prepare them for the morning Nana got there, because Nana covered for me. She was there at 6:45, because I came to work. So 6:45, Nana walks the door, the twins were elated, transition was smooth, I walked out the door. But it's preparing it the night before. And that goes for us as adults too. So I wanted to share that. So let's talk about strategy number 2, behavioral momentum. So this is a technique that's well documented in behavior analysis. Basically, if you look at the terms behavioral momentum, it's momentum through behavior. So what's the ultimate goal of behavioral momentum? In short, it's to get the person to do the hard thing. If you tell my son Aiden, you're gonna do your writing assignment, he will look at you and look away from you and want to do everything else but, because he doesn't like his writing assignments, right, his ELA. But if I tell him, hey, do your math first, he will do it. In lightning fast speed to 100% accuracy, bless you, to 100% accuracy, he loves his math. What behavioral momentum teaches us is get them to do the easy thing first. Because it's rewarding, it's reinforcing, they can do it. Then, maybe toy in something that they enjoy, reinforce that. Hey, you did the easy thing, go ahead, take a little break. And when I say little break, for the younger kids, I'm talking minutes, right? Hey, great job picking up your clothes. All right, let's do a little tickle. You probably saw some of that with the twins, right? The twins were acting up, the transition, so what do? Oh, where's the on button? Where's the on button, right? Tickling, because I know tickling, they love tickling, right? So tickling becomes the first step to the next step, to the next step, all the way to I got their cooperation. Now they're listening to me. Now I can say, hey, let's get dressed to go to school. But it takes sometimes understanding what the steps are to know how long this might take. For some, this could be a one-step process. Oh, you really don't want to do that ELA? Okay, I'll tell you what, do your math first, then do your ELA. No problem. Aiden will do that now. 2 years ago, it was 4 or 5 steps before he did his ELA. Now we're down to 2. For the twins, you saw how many steps it took before I got them even out of the room. But they're 4, right? They're 4. My goal is by the time they're 5, which is in September, we're a little bit faster, right? But that's behavioral momentum. So here's what I want you to do at your tables. You're going to take another 4 minutes. I want you to identify a behavior that is really hard or difficult or not as rewarding. Something you don't like to do. Not your kids, not your spouse, you. Something that you feel you definitely need a little momentum to get there. But here's the second part. So after you identify that hard thing, what are some easy things that you feel if you did those easy things, it'll build up to doing the hard thing? All right? So once you think about this, challenge yourself. Take about 4 minutes. What's the hard thing? And what are some of the easy things to get you to that hard thing? All right, so 4 minutes, starting now. All right, less than a minute left. It sounds like they're quiet. Do we have any volunteers? This was a tough one, right? Any volunteers? You volunteering?
Yeah.
Behavioral momentum. Go ahead.
So for me, I use this like all the time at work because we all have tasks that we're like, oh man, I don't want to do whatever it might be. There's something hard, something you have to get to. So it's like, okay, what do I need to do that I can just get myself going with? All right, let's check the email. Let's take care of making that easy post. Let's do the few simple things I know. And then you get going, your brain gets chugging along more and more, and then you can do the hard thing much easier. So I use it at work all the time, like using simple tasks that I know how to do to dive into the hard ones.
Okay. John, you look like you got something. Go ahead.
So let me piggyback off of that. It's not really like personally what I do, but what I set the tone for the students every day is because sometimes it's hard for any one of us to get to a kid right off the bat because they always want help. And I tell them to build their self-esteem, build some confidence by working on the easier subjects that they can get done quicker and focus on at the beginning of the day, so that way it gives us buys us a little bit of time to get to them.
Lovely.
So
Lovely.
they win and we
Perfect.
kind of win too,
Perfect. So behavioral momentum, right? Great couple of examples. Here's the key takeaway. The science is pretty clear. Behavioral momentum, it's about doing the easy things first to get to the challenging things. Now, you may have somebody in the room in their back of their mind saying, you know what, but I heard it was the opposite. I heard you do the hard thing first and get the easy thing to be the reward. Here's the challenge with that. Here's what the science teaches us. The moment the hard thing is done, they're finished. They're petered out. And it doesn't build momentum, it stops momentum. So depending on the situation, you can try it, but you might find that's what the learner, whether it's yourself or the child, does. They're just petered out. It was so difficult. There was no momentum. It just stopped. So just try it. I don't say don't try it. There are some cases that it does work, but that's what the science teaches us. All right, let's talk about strategy number 3. We're not going to do any examples of this, but I just kind of want to breeze through this. This is around reinforcement strategies that actually work. This is what the science teaches us. This is when, depending on the age, the situation, whether it's a child or an adult, some or all of these can work. In some situations, the combination of all of this works. So let's just kind of go through them. The first one is what we call specific praise. So if you have a child that's working really hard and you want them to do a transition and they do it, you give them specific praise about that transition, right? So when I get the twins in the car, man, you guys did so good getting in the car so fast and getting dressed, great job. Very specific praise. Not just saying, you're such good kids. They are just gonna say, thanks. But it's not specific, it doesn't tie to what we're talking about. With Aiden doing his ELA homework, it's painful for him. I feel terrible for him watching him go through it, but he's gotta do it. He's gotta do it by himself at this point. So when he gets done, man, I know that looked really hard, but you nailed it. You got it done. You got it right. Your handwriting's better, because those who have been around me for a while now, Aiden's handwriting was a big topic of discussion for the last few years. But specific praise, it goes a long way. The second one, meaningful incentives. Now, incentives don't have to be money. The word incentive actually just means incentivizes somebody to do something that they didn't normally want to do. So it could be time on the computer, time on the tablet, free time outside, could be money, depends on the whole scenario. For my kids, Hope, Sabrina, and Aiden are very driven financially. They love the cash, okay? Why? Because they like to go to the mall and go spend some money. Ironically, Aiden's the saver. He wants to spend it, but then when it comes down to it and he sees the dollar amount that he has to spend, he's like, nope. So he pockets all his cash. Where Hope, if she can spend $1, that $1's gone. Okay? And Sabrina's somewhere in the middle. But the idea is that if I really want them to do something, specifically with transitions, right, doing their homework, doing chores, things like that, I have to know what's incentivizing for them. Collaborative routines. So one of the things that my mother instilled in me, and I'm not sharing this to suggest you do this, but it's something that worked for me, is that if she wanted us to do chores, she wasn't just dictating the chore. She was doing her own chores while we were doing our chores. So it became a collaborative effort. So for me in my household, if I'm telling the kids to do the dishes, it's probably because I'm doing the mopping or the sweeping or something. But we're all doing chores at the same time. And it becomes a collaborative effort. It's a lot different than just saying, go do your chores, and I'm gonna sit on the couch, right? So you'll get a lot more buy-in, and this is true for us at work too, right? If we do things collaboratively, we get a lot more out of that than if we just tell somebody to do something and piss off. Last but not least, consistency. So when it comes to consistency, especially with kids in transition, the more you're consistent, the more they trust that you're doing it for their betterment. So it's not about just doing chores for chores' sake. We just had this discussion in our live cast. My mother used to say this to me about doing any type of work or chore. If we asked her, why do I gotta do the laundry? Why do I gotta learn this chore? Why do I gotta do this? She said, because I'm teaching you how to live. I'm teaching you for your transition in life. And that stuck with me throughout my whole childhood and my adulthood. But one of the things she was very good at, my mom, and I try to do this as a parent, is just make sure I am doing it consistently. Because the moment I break, they're gonna break, right? All right, so last but not least, strategy number 4. So this kind of goes back to, you saw the videos, sure enough, there comes a point where the transitions are so murky, so difficult, that the one thing that parents don't want to do, that they might end up doing, I've done it, they want to pull their hair out, they want to scream, they want to say, just get it done, let's go. And that's the point in time where this strategy has to kick in. This strategy is all about getting yourself back to a calm state, so that if you're calm, it creates their calm. So you notice that those twins were pretty much, and that was probably mild, but they were trying everything they could to get a little bit of a rise out of me. I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna go to school. I wanna punch you. You saw that video, that was great. So, mind you, this is 6 a.m. The last thing I wanna do, honestly, like inside of my head, I'm like, man, I don't wanna do this. I wanna go back to bed. But you push through. And the best way to push through is to make sure that you are in that calm state. So I wish I would have videotaped it, but Ms. Pam's gonna walk you through a lot of what I'm talking about here. But before the videos, usually what I do before I even open that door to the twins is I just take a bunch of deep breaths. I get myself in a good calm place.
I thought you were gonna say Valium.
And I take
You paused for
Yeah,
a second.
no. I usually take a deep breath. And the interesting part is, as they've gotten older, is now I find myself doing it before I open the door and after I close the door when I put them to bed. Because what do you think happens right when I put them to bed? They share a room. You saw that, right? That ain't just the morning. I should have done the nighttime one too, because that's a blast. That takes at least 45 minutes. They want to talk, they want to chit chat, they want to argue, they want to blah, 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 right? So if I stay in a calm state, I'm not, get back to bed! Go on, go to sleep. I see you. That's what I was doing. I'm not gonna lie. I did that a bunch of times. Now I just sit back, relax. That's so entertaining. So cute. They're just not going to sleep. They will, and sure, if I wait it out, they will. All right. So to conclude, go to your guided notes. Let's see if you got the right answers. So, why are transitions tough for families? Is it A, transitions combine multiple demands? B, transitions include time pressure? C, children are still developing critical regulation skills? E, transitions often leads to parental stress and escalating conflicts? Or all of the above?
All of the above.
You guys nailed it. All right, I want you to write down at least one of the many transition cues we talked about. Name me one. Anybody? Visual schedules. Name me another.
Verbal
Countdown. Name me another.
Personal
Soundtrack and physical cues. Beautiful. Behavioral momentum involves starting with a blank task to build cooperation and confidence before introducing a more blank task. A, fast. B, I already said B. Easy and challenging. Name me one reinforcement strategy. Name me one. Specific praise. Good job. Name me another. What's that?
Consistency.
Consistency. Well done. One more. There's 2 more.
Meaningful incentives.
Meaningful incentives. Well done. Last one. It was my mom and I doing chores together. Collaborative routines. Well done. And then last, what is the purpose of parents' transition readiness? That's what I call it.
Keep your calm.
Keep your calm, and their calm will come. Thank you, everybody. Great job today. Appreciate your time.
The reality is you also have to be consciously aware of where your child is during that crisis. Remind yourself, while the child is on the floor in crisis, he's just going through a moment. I love you. I'm here for you. And then don't look. Stand right here. Do you not think that they already are processing? I can't control myself. I can't calm down. Remember that frontal lobe is not thinking, it's not processing, it's already in crisis. So the only thing that you can do at that point is wade them out and be with them. We have a thing in our teaching environment in the behavioral side is that when that child has gotten to crisis, it's already gone too far. Do not put any more pressure on that kid. Allow them to calm down. Allow them to melt down. Manny has seen me, for those of you all that are up in my Rockledge campus, which is where we have some of our kids that are having more aggression, that are trying to self-regulate. I have sat down, had my hair pulled, punched in the jaw, oh yes ma'am, just waiting it out though. Because do you know what happens to most kids when they are expressing themselves? They're restrained. In the public school now, the resource officer or police officer is called.
Yeah.
They're scared.
Bingo. And most of the time they can't regulate and they can't self-control that anyway. So the only thing that you can do is, even in the time when you get the knockout punches, is know that that child's anger is simply her expressing itself on the outside.
I'll get you a gift card at Christmas.
No, because my job is to be here so that you all can now take the leads. Everything that we have been through from the professional side is to make sure that you all have this knowledge and experience so that you can play it forward. Don't be that family in the Walmart, Publix, or Target that's going, you need to control your kid. You know what you should do? Mom, is there anything I can get you? You're doing a great job, Mom. Build our families up instead of being the one that's sitting there going, you should have had some discipline. You should have. Well, no. Maybe the discipline that was generationally passed down is why my kid is sitting here on the floor. So what we want you to take home tonight is understanding it takes nothing but 3 breaths. 3. 1, 2, 3. 4, 4, 6. Less than 90 seconds. 90 seconds to change your entire energy, your frequency. 90 seconds. Kid can be on crisis. This isn't a technique that you need to do with your eyes closed. You can be driving a car. You could be watching the kid. And there's one breathing technique called heart-focused breathing that can shift everything for you. So, who remembers heart-focused breathing? BB, what's the first thing we got to think about?
A happy place.
Oh, very much. So, right now, everyone should come up with a target image in their head. And it's the image that's going to spawn the emotion. Okay? It's very important because, example, for me, I know it is eating lavender ice cream that I'm not supposed to eat. Okay? My body and milk, we do not get along. But man, it tastes really good. You know? You get what I'm saying? The other part, I've said it before, is my son gives me the look like, did you really say, like, I am so disgusted. That's like, that's my mom. Please don't look at me. That's my mom. That face, as much as I can't stand it, it makes me laugh inside. Why? Because there's 2 emotions that this triggers. One, gratitude that I'm blessed to have him. And 2, I'm a little stinker, so I'm eating something I was told I couldn't have. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the defiance. So I get defiant gratitude, and it just makes me happy. It's like a Cheshire cat. But do you understand how it spawns the emotion? That's what I need each one of you all to think about. You've got to have that image. It is like having, we're in Florida, it's Wild Wild West. So it's like having your pistol behind you. It's like having your prayer book in your pocket, depending on what your own strategy is. This is an easy, quick fix. So let's say my kid's down there on the floor. Even one that's even better for you all. What if it's not your child? Think about that. When it is your parent and you're the parent and the child, you have a symbiotic relationship. But when it's not your child and you're getting punched and being told what a horrible person you are, you could easily step back and not care. But instead, you need to see the child for being in crisis. And when you see the child in crisis, then your heart opens. Then you need to find your happy space. Because then when you're looking at that child, that emotion that your happy space gives, that's the energy you're giving to them. There have been many times I have sat down on the floor. This is the hair pulling, the punching, the biting, the nails. screaming, and just by not looking but being present with them, de-escalation times have dropped. And the next thing you know, the child is curled up in your lap crying because you haven't embarrassed them. You haven't made them feel that they're different. You've been there to support them. And that's being that lighthouse. And it's not going to last forever. It's just like the thunderstorm that goes through. They will go through this process. So these little techniques that you've got, the specific praise, use it appropriately. Don't overuse this when it's not necessary. As soon as your kid is down on the floor and they've left through the crisis, do you think that's the time to tell them, oh, no, I'm so proud of you. Look how much you handled that on your own. Mommy's so proud of you. Auntie's so proud of you. Those are the words that they need to hear. Does this make sense? Meaningful incentives. We all go to work to get a paycheck. Right? Don't speak to your children like they're uneducated. Explain to them why they're doing chores. Explain to them why this is a combination of collaborative effort. We all live in this house together. Well, if you break that toy, then mommy has to go and use her money to get new toy. Well, if we don't have any money, then I can't take and go buy you the extra toy. Do you see how this goes? But do it in their verbiage. Oh, you want to go have pizza on Friday? Okay, well, you can't throw all the potato chips on the floor. Speak to them at their level. They're 4 years old, then they need to start understanding why we do this as a house, because on the weekend, when Nona comes over, we cannot go to the park because we got to clean up the house now. But if we do it now, then I have all day to spend with you on Saturday. Well, if you help me get this done, we can get done faster. That works a lot more than, I've told you 15 times, why aren't you doing it? Now I'm doing it myself. Guess what I'm doing? Why I'm telling, oh, why couldn't you get this done? Oh, you should have gotten this done for me, but no, I'm here. Man, I'm tired. Oh my gosh, I have no more energy. Why do we not have any energy? Because we have given it to a child that's not listening to anything we're saying anyway. It's not going to clean the room. It's not going to do the dishes. Now you're expending all of this energy for what?
Around quarters. My son stepped up a lot, actually, what you mentioned, involving him in more, and I'm like, listen, mom really needs your help taking out the trash, doing this, and he's been happy to, now he sees me pull up with groceries, he'll come right out, and he's happy to be the man and help.
Absolutely.
Proud.
And that's where the praise comes in. Without you even, that praise is like, Kane, thank you so much. You don't understand what a big help you are to me. I don't know how I would do this without your assistance. Thank you so much. And you're putting that foundation in to make him, remember what Manny said his mom prepared him for? To live. Because I'm not always going to be here.
Yes, that's what I tell him, yes.
Those are the things that we need to do. Those are the things that we need to learn.